The average size of a farm was 4 or 5 acres, although a lot of people had only 1 acre of ground, no bigger than a large garden. However, these people still called themselves farmers. For the farmer with 5 acres, he divided his land thus: 1 acre for potatoes, 1 acre for oats, 2 acres for grazing, and the rest would have been bog land where the fuel for cooking and keeping warm would have been harvested during the summer months. The method of drill cultivation as we know today was introduced about 1830. However, the old method of rigs or lazy beds was still commonly used. The rig was made by simply turning a sod onto a piece of untilled ground which had first been fertilized with manure. Rigs had a good advantage where topsoil was thin and also provided good drainage on wet ground. The potato seed was planted into a nick made on top of the sod and would be covered over as the ground dried. A good man with a spade might have made an acre of rigs in 1 week. Before making the more effective drills, the ground would have to be ploughed. This 1-horse wooden plough was quite a pull for the 2 donkeys. They would have ploughed about 1 acre per day. After the ground had dried out, a cultivator like this one would have been used. As the ground became finer, the cultivator could have been adjusted to give a deeper seed bed. Potatoes needed the ground dug deeply. In wealthy areas, drill ploughs were already operating by this time, but in most parts the drills would have been opened using a shovel. Manure was then spread evenly along the drill and the potato seed planted on top of the manure. In a typical situation, the man would open and close the drills, the woman would spread the manure, and one of the older children would do the dropping, as the potato planting was called. Nowadays, potato seed would be in the ground by the end of April, weather permitting. In the 1840s, planting would have taken place much later, and the main crop might not have been lifted until Christmas. By 1845, advertisements like this one in the Coleraine Chronicle were urging farmers to use artificial fertilizer, which indeed in many cases doubled the yield of potatoes and other vegetables. Guano was the most popular one used. Brought from South America, it was broadcast onto the potato drills or rigs at about the rate of 200 weight to the acre. Sadly, the guano also carried a disease called Phytophthora infestans, a fungus which multiplies in hot, damp weather and could be quickly carried by wind, rain or mist. The potato blight had arrived.